Positive, good first 28 minutes of the game. Thought our half-court defense was better. Effort was really good. In control of the game in spite of not obviously shooting it great from the field because our defense had improved a ton. I mean, we're up 14 in that spot. Couldn't close it out. I could go back to see the tape. I do know that a lot of our turnovers, not finishing 2-on-1, missed layups led to their transition to kind of give them confidence in that run, and then we couldn't score the ball. Tough. I know we were in a spot there. Obviously, Max out and Riley had an ankle injury, couldn't get back in the game. So we're asking some players to do a little more than probably they thought they'd have to do at the end of the game. But I actually thought those guys did about all they could. I mean, if you would have said C-Mac would be in that game on offense there, trying to make free throws in the last 4 to 6 minutes, that's not necessarily what his strength is. So I don't blame some of those situations or anything on anybody because I was so appreciative of the fight that Chris gave us, the spark that he had. But, I got to look back and see if it was just out of character plays because different rotations or what. But I do know this. We can't shoot 36% from the field in these games and have a low percentage at the rim from 2 because it just puts too much pressure on your defense. Their guards rose up in the game late, played really good in the game late. We kind of had them under control for the most part, but in those last 10 minutes, they really rose to the occasion. So it's unfortunate, man, because you can play 27 minutes of good basketball, lead the majority of the game, and not close it out. That's basketball. Going forward, we'll get guys back. We'll keep plugging along. Basketball's a long season. We got to stay with it. This game could have gone our way. We just got to stay with it.
Bucky being 9-22 at the rim, is that something? Zach mentioned that's not really something that's happened in practice. So is that kind of a shock for you?
And that's where I got to go back and I got to look at all these rim shots. You're in the flow of the game. You feel the misses. You don't necessarily know where every one of them came from. I know we missed a lot of shots there that I seen us make over and over. I got to see, were they the guys that are typically taking those in practice? But I know we're better than that. Just simple as that. That's not anything I know, and we know it. You guys have seen us practice. We're better than that shot making.
Go ahead. You talk about this team's going to have a whole bunch of highs and lows. What do you think the high of this game was and what the low of this game was? Our
defense was really good until the last 12, 13 minutes. I mean, really guarded, stayed in, locked in, kept it out of the paint 10 times better than Oklahoma State. 10 times better. And, for whatever happened, in the last 12, 13 minutes, it wasn't good enough. So I really felt in the game we had them where we wanted them. I really did. I felt that. I felt we were kind of fresh in some spots. I thought we kind of had them on the ropes. And when they went to their kind of press there, it was just kind of I hope this works, and we get it down the floor. We'd have a numbers advantage. We wouldn't capitalize, and it got them right back in the game, and you saw their momentum change. Whereas, a championship team in that spot, they're going to capitalize on all those and take that lead from 14 to 18, and it's all she wrote. We're unable to do that.
How do you, moving forward, kind of teach that momentum's going, maybe shifting a little way to kind of stop that momentum and get it back? How do you kind of teach the psychology of that moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, momentum's like, you feel it in the game, and I think the biggest deal with momentum is that when it's going against you, you got to just focus on what your job is. That's all that really matters. I mean, nothing else matters. But when you have momentum, right, you can allow that to let you play emotional. Like, you got to play off intensity and not emotion. That's what we tell our guys. Like, there's a big difference. Like, intensity is that calm killer. You're going to do it no matter what. Emotion's that, hey, we're up by 14. So let's try a little lob here that we don't need to connect on. Because that'd be really hype if we connected on that and the crowd went crazy. Right? That's emotion, and, in time you got to get to that where it's just calm intensity. And, some of the guys that'll be in that floor when they're back, I think they have more of that to them, but that's got to be contagious to everybody.
Kind of to that point, does it feel like sometimes when things are going that the offense kind of dictates the defense a little too much with this team as it sits right now?
Offense dictates defense, but for good reason a lot of times. If you turn the ball over, it kills your defense. They did a stat on it about missed layups and how the percentage of time it results in layups at the other end. They found out it was actually greater than turnovers at times. So, when we have turnovers that result in points, we have missed layups that result in points, that's tough. So it's going to inevitably hurt your defense. We had some things go against us, some weird things, like when that run, Fetty's shoe falls off, they pitch ahead, bang a three. But they made plays. They did make some good plays. Their players rose up late and made plays. We struggled to finish that thing off. But we're going to keep grinding. Pop Isaacs, he just getting back in the flow of this, played 25 minutes. So there was some positive signs out of that. I thought he took a step forward in this game.
You said to yourself about a good 28 minutes. That kind of echoes that the first half looked more indicative of what they wanted to be. How do you kind of get that to go for a full 40 minutes, and how do you evolve there?
Just keep grinding, keep working, keep doing what you got to do, keep teaching. We were close that game. We were close. And that's all you can do. You can't get so results oriented that you can't point out the positive. It hurts losing. Trust me, no one hurts more than me, those coaches, and those players. Kills us. Kills me. Kills them. Kills us all. So, you can't be so results oriented that you don't look at the positive and say, all right, what do we got to keep grinding on to get better with, right? And that's individual skill. And that's obviously all the strategy in basketball. And I think those players take a deep look inside themselves a lot of times, and they know that they're better than what we shot from the line at times and what we did at the rim. They know we're better than that. So we just got to keep working on it.
What you just see from your bench, especially with Ryland kind of limited and Fetty maybe not having a great night on the offensive end?
Man, it's tough, and it is. I mean, we're not, we don't have the most experienced team certainly playing together. I mean by experience, these guys have been in. Zach hadn't been in that moment. Chris hadn't been in that moment. Fetty hadn't been in that moment a lot at the end of the games. A lot of the guys that you count on being in that moment are it's Pop, Ryland, and obviously Mac. Who's out, right? So other than that, a lot of those guys is new for them. So the next time they're in these moments, hopefully they're more at ease in those moments. So. We'll get it. We'll get those guys back, and we just got to keep plugging.
You started the first half off with a lot of energy. How encouraging was that to see? To the start, especially coming off of slow starts in the past couple of games.
Yeah, I mean we had it going on. I've seen our teams play. I've seen what the other team looks like. Hey, they're right there. We got them in a good spot, and we go from 14 to 16 to 18 to 20. And we didn't make those plays to do that, right? Our missed shots, our turnovers led to their hope, and when they got the momentum, they played well off of it.
With some of the issues we talked about here, does it feel like these are, and just coalescing in general, does it feel like this is something that you have the games in this non-conference slate to be able to get that gel by the time conference gets around? Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. You definitely gearing towards conference play. Now, let me tell you, I don't want to, cop out. We treat all these games like we want to win all these games, do the things that we want to do to win, period. So I don't want to overlook it that our guys didn't know this was an important game. We knew it was important. Our coaches knew it was an important game, just like the next one will be, right? You want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the season. You got to have resiliency and you got to have character in these times. That's really when you find out what you are and what a team is about. These guys got us last year down there, and A&M still had a good year, went to the tournament, right? So, we got to learn. We got to move forward. We got to keep plugging. I'll be the first to say, guys, we knew this wasn't going to be easy. We knew it wasn't going to be easy with it all, with a lot of new guys, all of that. And we know that now. We got to keep going. We got to keep plugging, and we got to keep controlling what we can control.
Coach, where do you find consistency in this sort of hot and cold style of play?
Well, you got to finish more at the rim, man. I mean, that's the thing. You can't, consistency, you talk about you want free throws, layups, and you want threes. I mean, that's every analytical person would tell you that's the most optimal way to play the game of basketball. I thought that we got good shots of those in terms of getting to the free throw line, but most importantly, at the rim. That's better than a three. You should have more consistency there than anywhere. And we couldn't capitalize on those. So, I'll do the shot breakdown. We shot 57 shots. You really want about half and half. 29 of them were threes. That's right about where you want it, analytically. So that's really good. Free throw line, they shot for the game, what'd they shoot? 17. We shot 30, is that right? So won that battle, you know, like you win at the rim, you win the layup battle, like it's pretty dang good. Where'd they clip us when you look at it? I mean, it's pretty obvious. They scored made 5 more threes than us. They shot 28, we shot 29, and they made 5 more threes than us. That's 15 points, right? And a team that's not the most physically imposing team, that can sometimes be the difference in the game. What I do know is we got good shooters. You know, I do know two of our better shooters couldn't play at the end of the game tonight. I know Max is an elite shooter. But for a team that's not physically imposing, I don't want to be that coach that, hey, it's all on shooting. Nah. But when they go 14 to 28, we go 9 for 29. You know, we're gonna have to finish in the other areas, which is free throws and layups, and we didn't make the layups we needed to.
Was Pop dealing with just a little bit of cramps? Is that what that was?
He's just getting his flow back, man. He's dealing with cramps. Sean was dealing with cramps, and obviously Riley just couldn't go because he messed his ankle up at the end of the first half. But Pop's just trying to find that rhythm, and people are trying to find the rhythm playing with him. I think you'll see as the further we go, Pop, some of his turnovers will cut down. We had too many turnovers in that game from our point guards. We got to cut those turnovers down.